That's what I was trying to get at. That was my point, is that Oklahoma is stepping into the depths of hell, having to fight their way to some level of relevance in the SEC in their first season. Look, Oklahoma fans, I have supported you guys. I've spoken somewhat positively about you guys. It is going to be a bloodbath that first season. I don't know how you can look at that and say that that is a winning record.
A bloodbath, huh? Oklahoma is going to be in a bloodbath in the 2024 season. They're first in the SEC. Well, hell, let's talk about it. Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football, soon to be coming to you live 5 days a week, everywhere you get your college football content. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and we are brought to you by Hall of Fame Media, Sun Publishing, and our friends over at Fanatics, the #1 licensed retailer of sports merchandise and memorabilia in the world. And yes, they are our partners here at Hall of Fame College Football. What does that mean? It means by using our partner link, you are guaranteed to get the best deals on licensed memorabilia for your favorite teams as well. How about that Sooner softball back-to-back memorabilia? Up to 65% off everything in the store just by using that link. You can buy your favorite team apparel and never overpay. We get a small commission. It's a win-win situation. Also, you can support the show by using tips, VENMO, CASHAPP, or if you are watching us on YouTube, just tap that super chat heart. Anybody who loves college football, make sure that they are coming to the Hall of Fame College Football live stream, soon to be 5 days a week, as I said. Now, as you saw there in the intro, Wednesday, the SEC released its 2024 schedule, the league schedule for when Oklahoma and Texas enter the league. Listen, you're hearing a lot of folks that are saying just what you heard there from Joe off of that show. Now, Rufino and Joe, this is a new. Hey, listen, I haven't seen them much. Actually, their show's pretty good. But this is a lot. You could have watched any number of creators and heard the same kind of stuff. So you have your SEC 2024 schedule here. Folks, even though they're just going to stick at 8 games, you start looking at this Oklahoma schedule, it's insanity. We'll get into that just a little bit, but this is the entirety of the schedule right here. If you need to take that screenshot, take a look at it. This will be your entire schedule for the league, the best conference in all of college football right here. Now, when you start looking at the Oklahoma Sooners, they seem to have gotten a bit tougher of a go at it than some of the rest of these schools did. A bit of a welcome, not so welcome to the league. There's a lot of things that you could look at that as, were they kind of done dirty? A lot of people are upset about it. I got to tell you, as an OU fan, look, this is the way that it's going to be. This is just the way it's going to be. If you really want these Sooners to get to the places that all of us fans seem to want to get them to, they're going to have to go through gauntlets like this. And here's the deal. They were getting to the playoff under Lincoln Riley, and they were getting to national title games during Bob Stoops, the end of Bob Stoops' career. They weren't getting the job done, okay? They weren't getting the job done. And the reason why, and when Lincoln was the coach, they would get to the playoff and get destroyed, aside from that Georgia game and the Rose Bowl when Lincoln did what he did kind of last year against Tulane. It was very similar, actually. And you just saw them kind of come apart. Aside from that, the other 3 times that they were in the college football playoff, they got skull drug because the teams that beat up on them, the Clemson was the one time. Then you had LSU and you had an Alabama loss as well. They got beaten to death in all three of these. And it's because even though they were getting through that Big 12 schedule, they just didn't have enough of a full-on team to get it done. If they get through this schedule, though, and I'm going to go ahead and put it up on the screen for you as well, if they're able to get through this schedule, and we'll start off with their home opponents, okay? If you can get through a schedule like this and make the college football playoff as one of the top teams coming out of the SEC, because believe me, there's going to be at minimum 3, probably, I would think, teams coming out when they go up to a 12-team playoff. I think there's going to be years that you might see 4 SEC programs come out. But if you're one of those teams that gets out of this league, maybe you're the conference champion, that means that you are almost surely good enough to win this thing. And this is what you want as an Oklahoma fan. And the good news is that I saw as many people as were screaming about it was an unfair schedule. I saw just as many people saying exactly what I'm trying to tell you now. It's not enough to get to the playoff anymore, folks. It's not enough for me. It's not enough for you. It's not enough for anyone just to get to the playoff. You want national championships. You want to do what that Oklahoma softball team is doing to the rest of the country and beating the brakes off of them, taking home that hardware in the most important sport in Oklahoma, football. Look, this is what we want to see. If they're going to do it, they're going to have to get through this kind of a schedule. That's just all there is to it. Take a look here. This would be, all right, home opponents. They will be playing host to the Alabama Crimson Tide under 7-time national champion Nick Saban, who has won 6 with the Alabama Crimson Tide. They're coming off to what appeared to be to them, or well, what is to them, subpar seasons, not going to the playoff in the past 2 seasons. Well, they're coming off to what in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, are considered subpar seasons in losing the championship game to Georgia 2 years ago, and this past season not even making the playoff, losing to another home opponent for Oklahoma in 2024, Tennessee on the road by 1 point. They also lost to another opponent. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Last year, they didn't make the playoff. Now, are they that far down? I mean, that remains to be seen. They will also play host to the South Carolina Gamecocks and Coach Shane Beamer, a former Oklahoma assistant at the time when Lincoln was in Norman. Now, this is a tough schedule here. Wait till you see the rest of it, okay? Let's stop that one. Let's present the next one. Going to their road ones. Let me see here. Road opponents. Out on the road, they will have 4 away games, and it's actually a 5th one because you have that Red River shootout game against the Texas Longhorns in Dallas. That's, of course, a neutral site game, and most OU fans would say the Sooners own the Cotton Bowl. Now, last year they did not. They owe Texas a big piece of payback this season, but they will continue to play that. They just signed a new deal to remain in the Cotton Bowl. Listen, their road opponents, this is not going to be an easy skate. Look, out of these ones, the one that you really don't, there's not a ton of pageantry when you start looking at Mizzou. They've played them quite a few times in the Big 12 conference as well, so that's not as big of a deal. But then you go to a place like Ole Miss. You've got Lane Kiffin, who has this program reaching heights that it really hasn't reached in an awful long time. I know they had their little time there with Hugh Freeze, which, by the way, they'll get to visit him and the Auburn Tigers, Jordan-Hare Stadium. Another one of those places that just, I was hearing what Ty was saying on the JP and Trav show earlier today, and he was talking about Jordan Hare is haunted. I don't know what that means. I know that it's a big-time place to play SEC football, and none are bigger for road matchups, particularly at nighttime, than Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the LSU Tigers playing host to Oklahoma in that first season. Brian Kelly has them on the verge of what a lot of people believe is going to be a national championship season in 2023. OU will get to find out how they match up with them in 2024 on the road. Now, is this what? Well, let's pull up this video again. I want you guys to go ahead and listen to these guys and what they're talking about, and then we'll show you some of the rest of this again.
Look at this 2024 schedule. I'm just paraphrasing here, but this could be their like a month for them. Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn with Hugh Freeze, LSU, Ole Miss is also in there.
What's scarier for me?
Well, hold on once. That might be the toughest SEC conference schedule I've ever seen. Let me reread it. In a month, they have Tennessee, Texas, Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss. Name a tougher schedule, and that is insanity.
That's what I was trying to get at. That was my point, is that Oklahoma is stepping into the depths of hell, having to fight their way to some level of relevance in the SEC in their first season. Look, Oklahoma fans, I have supported you guys. I've spoken somewhat positively about you guys. It is going to be a bloodbath that first season. I don't know how you can look at that and say that that is a winning record.
A bloodbath, he says. A bloodbath. Yeah. Folks, I want to know what you think. Now, the good news is that, yeah, listen, it could be. What I would tell you is that, yeah, is that a tough schedule for anybody? Sure it is. But don't forget that Oklahoma has a winning record against SEC programs. Pretty much everyone that they've played. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you look at these and the home game. Can you say that they're definitely going to beat Alabama? Of course not. Okay. Of course not. Alabama just got done recruiting. What did they have? 8 or 9 5-star guys. They had 15 guys that were in the top 100. That's why they were the number 1 recruiting class this season. They're just reloading. Okay. Right now, they may have some issues with their quarterback situation. My guess is they're still going to be good. And next season, we're going to find out. The good news is you get them in Norman at the Palace. It's a good opportunity there for you to get a win there, but I could see them losing that one. As far as the rest of their home games, they really ought to probably win them. The Tennessee game would probably be the toughest one. You're looking at probably having Joe Milton come in. You could actually have, another 5-star guy going up against Jackson Arnold in that game as well. And that should be a lot of fun in view of the fact that you have, you have a former national championship winning quarterback in Josh Heupel as the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. That'll be another tough one there. But you would think that they need to get that one done, right? Maybe they get a split there. Hey, listen, a split there you could probably handle. The other one would be South Carolina. I'm sorry, South Carolina at home. You got to win that game. I'm sorry, and I think Shane's a great coach. You're never going to get the guys at South Carolina that Oklahoma's getting, and they've been replenishing that. And by year 3, what I would tell you is this as much of a bloodbath as what these guys are telling you? I don't think so. By year 3, this football team should be humming. And when I say humming, if you look at some of the recruits that are in the Oklahoma camp at this moment, that they've got them in their top 5 or their top 3, ready to make commitments along that defensive line. You look at some of the guys they've brought in already, there's going to be big improvements there. Year 3, it should be even better on that defensive side. Offensively, I feel like they're going to be great. I feel like they're still going to be great. You have one of the best running back rooms in the country there. You've got a quarterback that just won the Elite 11. Dylan Gabriel could still be around. That my guess is he won't be, and this is going to be Jackson's job year 2. And listen, look, could he struggle in his first season as the starting quarterback? Possibly. I think that like what Coach Isaiah was saying on the live stream last night, you're going to probably want to make sure that you get him some time, live time in against real competition in this freshman season of his. You obviously do not want him to have to be the starter unless he's thrust into action for an injury. It's great that you have him in case there was an injury, but you kind of hope that Dylan can kind of get it done this season, and maybe they go into the SEC as Big 12 champions like they always were. I mean, this was the dominant program in the Big 12. You got to go in and make a statement. Now, year 3, again, I think they'll be great on defense, and I think that's where you have to be best, right? You don't have to play Georgia, thankfully, but when you start looking at this road schedule as well, yes, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think that it's doable, though. I mean, you start looking at, you've got Ole Miss. Lane does a great job. Lane doesn't have to go up against Coach Venables' defenses that often, and by year 3 should be their year that they really, really look good on that side of the football. As I said, Mizzou, I'm not too worried about Mizzou, man. They beat Mizzou 8-9 out of 10 for the entirety of the Big 8 and the Big 12. Mizzou has never been a big problem. And I think they've got a decent coach. I think they've got some decent players coming in, and it's an SEC program now. But after those first couple of years, they haven't done anything. They haven't. Okay. Then you look at Auburn. Look, Hugh Freeze is going to put points on the board. We know that. This is a guy that beat Alabama a couple of times while he was at Ole Miss before he had all those issues with his assistant or whatever it was that was going on there. Anyway, we don't have to get into all that, but I think that it's a big time pickup for the Auburn Tigers. And as you start talking about the fact that Jordan-Hare Stadium is a tough place to play, weird things happen in those games. This is not a game that you'll be able to overlook whatsoever. And in fact, in his second season as head coach, you would expect that Hugh will probably have some pretty good recruits in there, and they're going to put up a good fight. The one that really concerns you, LSU. Okay. LSU Tigers. These guys, look, Brian Kelly was taking Notre Dame to the playoff. And you're not going to get the amount of depth at Notre Dame, or at least he didn't. It looks like, maybe this new coach is going to get better. But recruiting-wise, he did not have access to the kind of players that he has access to now in Baton Rouge. It doesn't really matter who's the coach there. Kids want to play for this program. They're a national championship program. They won 2 under Les Miles. They won 1 under Coach O. Now they have a guy that was winning big at Cincinnati. He is the winningest all-time coach in Notre Dame history. And, here he is. He's got SEC talent. First season, right out of the block, they beat Alabama at home. They play for the SEC championship. They don't win it. They kind of struggled a bit down the stretch. But what I would tell you is I really do feel like you're looking at a situation. This is a dark horse national title team. If Georgia doesn't win it, I feel like it's probably LSU that does. If it isn't them, I could see a Clemson possibly jumping in there and doing that because of the things that they're doing in recruiting, and it's still Clemson. I could see them doing it possibly. But obviously my pick to win the whole thing would be Georgia. If it isn't Georgia, to me, it's LSU. We're going to find out. But in year 3, they could be coming off a national championship. That's going to be a tough place to play no matter what. Maybe they didn't win the national title and they're even hungrier for it the year after that. We're going to find out. But there's not a whole lot of folks that go in to Baton Rouge. It's almost certainly going to be a night game. You just have to expect that. That could be a loss. But honestly, out of these, you've got these 4, plus you got the Texas game. Yeah, I'll never say that they're going to lose to Texas. But you would expect that they win at least probably 4 out of 5 with the aways, plus your game in the Cotton Bowl against Texas and the Red River game. Then when you look at the home schedule, the hope would be that you at least win 2 out of those 3. Okay, at least win 2 out of those 3. If you can win 2 out of 3 of those, you can win 4 out of 5 of the road plus your neutral site game. You're in great position to be in the playoff in your first season in the SEC. Now, am I making that a prediction? No. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with this team. We still haven't found out yet if Brent Venables is going to be able to step up and become that guy. Okay. Is he a head coach? We don't know yet. We know he recruits as good as anybody does. And I think that defensively, they're going to be in position to be very good. If the learning curve continues to go up instead of stalling where it seemed like it was last season, I think that they have a really good chance of by that year they could be a contender. Year 4 would probably be more likely. But look, is it undoable? No. That's the main thing I wanted to make this video about. This is not an undoable record. And by God, you're a blue blood if you're in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a blue blood. It doesn't matter what conference they play in. It doesn't matter what team they play. There's certain teams that you expect to win no matter what. Some programs expect to win no matter who they line up against. Okay? That's just how it is. And that's exactly what it means to be an Oklahoma Sooner. It's what it means to be an Alabama Crimson Tide player. It's what it means to be an LSU as well. Georgia as well. Look, these are all blue blood programs. When you get humming and you're contending, you expect to win, period. And if you're not winning them, is eventually they're probably going to have to go away if you're Brent Venables. It's time to win national championships. Now, can you see him having a stumble year coming into that one? Maybe. But in my opinion, chances are you could go in there and I feel like you should win all but maybe a couple of these. And maybe you catch fire and do even better than that. I think that puts a lot on Jackson Arnold's shoulder as a first-year starter. But hey, again, when you come to Oklahoma, you come to play for championships. And they've known that they're going to the SEC now for, 3 years? It's time. It's time. I'm ready. Let's get after it. It's going to be exciting. I hope everybody else is excited. But hey, listen, do you agree with me or do you agree with the guys on the video that I just played for you? There's a way that you can let me know on that. Make sure you hit those comments. Let me know what you think. Am I crazy to think that they might be able to get through that thing with just 1 or 2 losses? Maybe I am. Let me know what you think. Another way to do it, go to our website and give me your opinion right through a voicemail. We have a little button there. It's right at the top of the homepage, hofmedia.us. That's hofmedia.us, right here, bottom left of your screen. Jump on there. There's a little thing about the video that we did last night, the live stream. You can check that out and then go on and, hey, make your thoughts known. All you got to do is tap that little button. You can record your voice. Tell me exactly what you think about the whole thing, okay? That'll be great. Hey, if you want to help out the show, as I've told you before, make sure you become a subscriber if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Check out our merch shop. Once again, as I told you as well, it's right above it. Go get you some of that Lincoln Riley gear. That Lincoln blocked me badge of honor that I get to wear, and so do you. Check it out right in there. You can, again, check out our Fanatics partner store. Buy your favorite team's apparel. Never overpay because you get up to 65% off everything in the store just by using the Hall of Fame Media link. It's right there, top right of the screen. Jump in there and take a look at it. Hit us with some tips if you want to. But hey, you know what I really want? I want some interaction on this video. I want interaction to tell me, am I crazy to think that they might get through that gauntlet of a schedule with 1, maybe 2 losses and have an opportunity to still get to the playoff in their first season in the SEC? If you look at the Texas schedule, it's not near as tough, guys. Not near as tough. Tell me what you think. Can they get by with, look at this schedule. Florida, Georgia, yeah, those are home games, though. Then they got Kentucky, Mississippi State at home. They go on the road, obviously the neutral site game against Oklahoma in the Red River, but they get Arkansas, Arkansas's kind of had their number, but who cares? A&M, they always beat A&M, or they should beat A&M, and then they get Vandy. I mean, if you look at that schedule and then you come over here and look at the Oklahoma schedule, it's definitely not equal. But what I'll tell you is that everybody in the SEC, the remaining 14, all will play Texas or Oklahoma in that first season. It'll flip the year after that. So it should even itself out year 2 in the SEC, and Oklahoma maybe gets that little more of a cream puffier schedule. I don't know. Florida could be better by then. You know what I mean? Georgia obviously could be coming off, 3 national titles and, having possibly played for a 4th one the year after that. They're going to have to win 3 before they do that. But look, make no mistake. If you're looking at the toughest schedule for the SEC, you can look through this all you want to. It's Oklahoma. It doesn't mean that they can't do well, but it's definitely going to be a tough road to hoe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, we will see you on the next one. Hey, you guys all know the drill, right? Say it with me. Smash that red subscriber button. Like our videos. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss one moment of the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. Hey, we even have amazing pod merchandise right here in our store. Hey, while you're here, don't forget to check out all these other amazing channels and subscribe to them too.